We'll be discussing in this video Clay Higgins, a Republican congressman from the 3rd Congressional District in Louisiana, and his reality creations relating to the January 6th insurrection in this video. If you already believe that Clay Higgins is unworthy of belief, as I do, then there's no need to watch this video that goes into detail about why I view him as a wingnut. And that's just my opinion based on what I know about him and what he has said in the past. I will identify my source material for this video in the more section below. I will still publish later a video discussing January 6th, and that's on the back burner now, but I am discussing this related topic today. Republicans are constantly engaged in an effort to deflect from what actually happened on January 6th through a revisionist history, and Higgins is just the leader in that Republican effort. A reader left a comment in a previous post that I published about the growing trend toward authoritarianism in the United States, that people may want to watch Higgins being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, which is available here on YouTube for anyone who wishes to watch it. I was already familiar with both Carlson and Higgins, and mentioning those two names together caused a memory immediately to pop into my mind. There was a guy with a sign on an LA street that claimed that Tom Hanks was a pedophile. A reporter went up to him and asked him what proof did he have that Tom Hanks was a pedophile. And the man replied angrily, "What proof do you have that he's not?" Trump supporters make accusations and claims without proof all the time, and somehow, in their minds, that shifts the necessity to prove that the accusation or claim is untrue, when that rebuttal should not even be necessary since no evidence had been supported to justify the claim in the first place. Once contrary evidence is presented to them, that evidence will be ignored, or most likely avoided altogether. And then there will be 10 more or 20 more bizarre claims emerge in a whack-a-mole type game. It is endless and tiresome to address with rebuttal evidence. One of Higgins's creations is that up to 200 FBI informers were in the January 6th crowd, egging them on to commit violent acts. The claim was that there were 2 buses that were painted white that were parked at Union Station that was filled with these FBI informers, a claim which was denied by the FBI. Higgins responded to that denial by saying the Republicans were going to get the FBI Director Christopher Wray, S-W-R-A-Y, who is a Republican, by the way, who was first appointed to that position by Trump. Telling the truth in Trump world can get you hanged, or at least charged with some crime that they cook up. Higgins claims to have confidential source whose identity must remain secret that supports his claim about the FBI and FBI's involvement in January 6th insurrection. I have a confidential source as well that I cannot identify for his, her, or its own safety, that there were aliens on those buses rather than FBI informants. So maybe Higgins wants to rebut that claim. The first question to ask is whether the person making the claim is worthy of belief, and Higgins and Carlson are not worthy of belief, in my opinion. Even if the person is normally a reliable source of information, the next inquiry is whether there is any reliable evidence that is provided to support the claim. Higgins and Carlson are just not believable, and both have a motive to make claims that are not supported by evidence or even common sense. When trying to deflect blame from Trump for what happened on January 6th, which is their goal in making these factually unsupported claims and ignoring as well all the vast amount of evidence that the insurrection was caused by Trump and carried out by his Republican followers. Before Carlson was fired by Fox News, and that always needs to be put in quotes, at least the news part, Fox lawyers were defending Carlson in a slander suit and told the federal judge hearing the case that no one should believe Carlson is stating facts on his show that was then on Fox. And the judge agreed and held that the general, quote, general tenor, end quote, of the Carlson show on Fox before he was fired should inform the viewer that Carlson is not, quote, stating actual facts, end quote, about the topics that he discusses, and is instead engaged in exaggeration, rhetorical hyperbole, and non-literary commentary. Higgins' history, I think, is also relevant for anybody trying to judge his credibility. Higgins appeared on a stage at an Oath Keepers rally organized by Stewart Rhodes, who is now serving 18 years in prison for his involvement in the January 6th Republican assault against the Capitol. During his speech at the Oath Keepers conference, Higgins lamented the loss of an America in which, quote, everybody had guns in every vehicle, and any child could buy a gun from any seller if daddy sent him with the money, end quote. He has worn a shirt emblazoned with the logo of the Three Percenters, a right-wing anti-government militia. The foregoing would cause a reasonable person with who still possesses a modicum of common sense to dismiss Higgins' claim about the FBI's involvement. No defendant charged with crimes for their actions on January 6, both those who have pled guilty and many have, or have been convicted, have proven any of the claims made by Higgins in a court of law using actual evidence. Higgins resigned from a police force in 2007 after striking a prisoner in handcuffs, and then, according to the police chief, Perry Gallo, Gallow, lied about the incident. When running for Congress in 2016, Higgins falsely claimed to have resigned because of his opinion about the police chief, rather than the real reason. He joined a sheriff's department in Louisiana and resigned in 2016 rather than being reined in after posting a video expressing his intent to hunt, quote, end quote, the, quote, animal of what he claimed to be a black gang featuring their names and faces. So Higgins is a popular figure in Trump's America. The sheriff, his employer, said that Higgins also repeatedly violated department policy by misusing his badge and uniform for personal gain. On March 19, 2024, Higgins voted against a House resolution condemning the illegal abduction and forcible transfer of children from Ukraine to the Russian Federation. Putin has been charged with a war crime for authorizing that removal by the International Criminal Court of Justice in The Hague. He voted against providing benefits to veterans who had been exposed to toxic chemicals during their military service. He issued this kind of nonsensical response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Quote, you millennial leftists who never lived one day under nuclear threat can now reflect upon your woke sky. You made quite a non-binary fuss to save the world from intercontinental ballistic missiles. Making nonsensical statements like that is Higgins' primary claim to fame. Higgins really has no proof to support his claim that the FBI entrapped the Trump supporters who attacked the Capitol. Just a photograph of a couple buses near the Capitol in a garage. I addressed that claim already about the FBI in a November 18th, 2023 blog post. Higgins asserts that the FBI informants were in those white painted buses, which everyone knows, according to Higgins, are nefarious FBI clandestine vehicles, and they were deposited in a parking lot before the attack. Apparently, the FBI informant slept on the bus, ate dinner, breakfast, and lunch, and used plastic bags for waste products to keep their presence secret. And they remained silent about their FBI affiliation after being arrested for committing crimes, even when sentenced to prison for doing allegedly what the FBI told them to do. These kind of claims say a great deal about Higgins, and nothing favorable, of course, and nothing about the FBI. The FBI director, the Republican way, denied the allegations as noted earlier. And this is how Higgins responded to his Way's denial under oath. Quote, these buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th. Your day is coming, Mr. Way, end of quote. Higgins constructed this entire narrative based on a nondescript picture of two buses in a parking lot where tour buses are omnipresent, and his own confidential investigation that he claims to have done based on unidentified sources. So I'm going to cite some of the references for what I just said in the more section below.